So what is design? When we think of designers, do we think of people like Da Vinci or Einstein? If we don't, we should. These two people are some of history's greatest designers. Design is one of the most overused words. And as you can see here, it can very quickly lose any kind of real meaning. Steve Jobs famously said that most people make the mistake of thinking design is what it looks like. But that's not what they think design is. It's not just what it looks and feels like, which of course is also an important role of design, but more critically, design is how it works. What things look like is a more traditional interpretation of design. It's what design mostly used to be about, and what we today refer to as graphic or visual design. But using design to understand how to develop products that work is what is also referred to as design thinking. Design thinking refers to both a tool set and a mindset. As a tool set, it offers methods to deal with complexity. As a mindset, it suggests a way of thinking. When I talk about design, I am talking about a concept of design that means taking a human-centered approach to solving a problem with creativity, experimentation, and knowledge. Design in various formats straddle different aspects of innovation. Design thinking in product and service development, lean startup for developing MVPs, and ecosystem design. All of these are human-centered design approaches. Design can be thought of in terms of complexity and the focal point for the process. Richard Buchanan developed a framework for thinking about the evolving nature of design use. At the very simplest, design is used for symbols, communication, and messaging. The second order of design is at a product or things level, such as industrial design. The third order of design is for the design of actions, such as services, where there may be multiple product interactions and interactions with people. The fourth order is at its most complex, design of thought or system design. Complex system design occurs in the context of designing organisations, loosely connected networks, or ecosystems. There is a great deal of confusion about what is design, human-centred design, and how these things differ from design thinking. Well, design, with a capital D, is the broad concept for all of the orders of design. Within the broad field of design is human-centred design, essentially design that uses methods to understand the human context and ensure that the solution addresses and meets the needs of the people who will either use or are impacted by the solution. Design thinking is the concept that was popularised by Tim Brown from IDEO. Design thinking, or to think like a designer, was actually researched and coined by academics as far back as the 1950s. Firstly, John Arnold was a MIT researcher, and he was investigating how designers created or how they thought. Subsequent researchers explored what was considered to be designerly ways, such as Bruce Archer, Herbert Simon, Horst Rittel, Nigel Cross, and Donald Schon. This was all well before Tim Brown became CEO of IDEO. However, the IDEO method, which is the 5 steps for design, became one of the mainstream ways of what it meant to do design thinking. What scholars such as Schon and Cross discovered was a process of abductive reasoning and of bisociation. Design thinking requires abductive reasoning, very different to the more common understanding of inductive and deductive reasoning. It is the ability to shift thinking from the purpose or function of a task to tools or products to assist with the function to achieve those tasks. That is necessary for design. At the heart of design is a basic process of divergent and convergent thinking. Initially, the process begins by expanding thinking, broadening of knowledge, ideas and concepts, imagining as many different things that can be used to address the challenge. Then at some point, the process must pivot and begin to converge. This is to eliminate some of the ideas, to prioritise, categorize, or select particular options to take forward. At the two inflection points, there are critical changes in thinking. The first, between divergence and convergence, is a transformation, connection of concepts, blending or merging of ideas, and a reduction. At the end of the convergence is evaluation, reflection and decision-making about further direction. The process of divergence and convergence can also be conceived as a circular process, oscillating between the understanding or observation activities and the converging or selecting activities. Two forces are applied. That is the evaluation of ideas and the transformational connecting and combining of ideas. These two forces work to continue to drive design as an iterative process. It is from these conceptions that many organisations have developed their own brand of design or their own methods. Here we have the Design Council's version of the process called the double diamond. There are also other methods that simplify design into steps such as the D-School and the before-mentioned IDEO. Google also has its own version called the Google Sprint. And well-known design strategist Jean Liedtke has her version of the approach called Designing for Growth. All of these concepts go through the divergent convergent steps and apply transformation and evaluation to move the process forward. A very basic view of the process is that you start with a challenge of some kind, shown here as A. At this point, you define the challenge and then conduct some sort of research. Then you progress to divergent thinking, which may include some form of ideation or brainstorming. During the ideation, ideas are being combined, tested, experimented, and discarded. Then out of this, a concept will be selected and refined. Eventually, an MVP concept will emerge and be assessed. Why do we do design? Well, there is no such thing as no design in our modern world. There is really only good and bad design. Everything around you, except the natural world, is designed. Some people think that design is just common sense, that problem solving is a natural process that we can all do. And yes, that's true. However, as humans, we have inherent thinking bias. We solve problems based on our own experience, values, and views of the world. And this means that we reach for the most obvious or stereotype solutions that we have experienced first. Design, however, is a deliberate process to challenge the assumptions, test our thinking, and ensure that what we develop is robust in different situations for different people. Design should not be confused with art. Design is also not invention. Invention is what happened when the first person developed the toothbrush. Here you can see what early toothbrushes, called Babylonian chew sticks, look like, and these have been dated back as far as 3000 BC. The Chinese then created chewing sticks created from aromatic trees and chewed to sweeten the breath. Fast forward many hundreds of years to the 15th century, and the Chinese invented the first natural bristle brush. Bristles from a pig's neck was attached to either bone or bamboo handles. In 1780, William Addis invented what is now known as the modern toothbrush. He attached pig bristles to a specially carved handle made from cow bone. People started brushing their teeth to improve their breath and keep their teeth clean. Over time, this was improved and designed. Design was applied to the invention to improve this into what we now have today as the modern toothbrush. Design happens all around us, but that doesn't mean it's always done well. Some things to think about when you are designing. Remember that bad design happens everywhere, and you must be responsible for the designs that you create. Here are some of the common types of obvious problems created by poor design in our world. Every day, we see these kinds of examples, but these are obvious and may only have minor consequences. And not to be left out, here are some bad designs for IT people. Think about it. What makes the design bad? Really, at the basic level, These designs have a lack of understanding of humans. Design is an incredibly useful tool for innovation. Consciously using a design method, reflecting on who is impacted and how, will make your design more desirable and also more successful.